Something old, something new, and something kind of insane. Welcome to episode 10 of the Fallout 4 Mod Vault. It was inevitable that the iconic armour from Fallout New Vegas, the Desert Ranger veteran combat armour, would make its way to Fallout 4, and it has done so. Boston is obviously not a desert environment, however this armour still seems to suit, well, pretty much any wasteland in my opinion. It just has this all-round look of end-of-the-world survivor armour. It looks combat ready, it looks rugged, it looks like it would survive against the harsh weathers, and it also looks slightly high-tech, but not in a shiny way. And this version of the armour actually allows you to take the mask off, so if you think it's a little stuffy for the Boston climate and you want a little bit of the wind on your face occasionally, you can actually do that. The mod does come with an anti-material rifle, although the model looks a little different to the one in Fallout New Vegas and seems a lot larger. It also has some odd texture problem around the scope, I think, when you look at it in first person. The weapon itself is very powerful indeed. In fact, probably a little too powerful. My 50 caliber sniper rifle, heavily modified to the max, is 115 damage. The anti-material rifle with my perks, 252 damage. And every other stat is also better. It's got more accuracy, and the only downside to it is heavier. I would like to see this balanced a tiny bit. The stats for the armour are pretty impressive. It's very high-end stuff, 93 damage resistance, 150 energy resistance, and some built-in radiation resistance. The helmet is reasonably good, but not that overpowered, and the mask is actually quite a nice addition. A little bit of resistance to damage, but 30 radiation resistance. Overall, it's actually not that overpowered if you compare it to something like the Vault 111 jumpsuit, heavily modified, and several pieces of heavily modified armour. And seeing as at the time of making this video the armour cannot be modified at the workbench, it's actually reasonably balanced if you just decide to wear the Veteran Ranger coat, helmet and mask. The thing is, the mod actually allows you to add all of the other pieces, the separate pieces of armour, as if it were just a standard piece of clothing, which does allow you to get some fairly impressive resistance, and that might be considered overpowered. So I think I would like to see a version that did not allow you to add those pieces, which I think would be reasonable anyway, seeing as it looks kind of horrible with all of these things added. Oh, you can see I've changed the helmet. That was actually a mistake. But you can see that the mask works fine with the other helmets. Let me put the Ranger helmet back on. But as you can see, the other armor clips something horrible. And the basic armor suit comes with what look like metal armor wrist pieces. So that's your arms covered. The chest and shoulders have that rather impressive looking body armour, and the only area I would say it was reasonable to be adding new pieces of armour would be the legs, but they do clip a little with the coat. That is actually another thing with this armour. There is a tiny bit of clipping at the back of the coat with the boots, so it's not a huge amount of clipping, it is a very small amount, but it is there. And just in case you're wondering, yes, you can still get in power armour. This is a great set of armour, and I'm really hoping that the mod author continues to develop this one further. I'm hoping he can add some modifications to the mask, to the helmet. It'd be nice to have a headlamp on the helmet and perhaps night vision on the mask. But even in its current state, I'm loving it. Staying with the subject of armour, our old friend Hoth Trooper 44 is back. That's right, the man who brought us immersive armours and immersive weapons for Skyrim has started modding Fallout 4. And the first item he has made for us, well, the first armor related item he has made for us is the Armoured General uniform. The General's uniform is a very cool looking outfit, and it does come with some armor. If you actually look at the stats, it has 45 armor and 80 energy resistance, which is not too bad, but it's probably not something you're going to want to wear later on in the game. It's just not quite tough enough, and it can't be upgraded either. Well, Hoth Trooper has given us the armoured version of this uniform. Now, I say armoured version, of course the General's uniform is already armoured. This is just, shall we say, heavily armoured. If I put those on, you can see an armour of 120, which is a big improvement. And the hat now has some damage resistance as well. And as you can see, you look a lot tougher, a lot more ready for battle. This armour actually comes in a few varieties, including brown, blue and grey, and even a patterned version for those of you who want to look just a little more dapper. There are even versions without the side pieces for the thighs, and that is because a number of people, myself included, did get a little clipping for those pieces. You craft the items at the chemistry station, and you can actually upgrade them at the armor bench, and you can actually get the stats to be pretty damned impressive. But it's not overpowered because you cannot add the other armor pieces, thankfully. So, if you're enjoying the role of the General, but you feel you need a little more protection, there you go. Snappable junk fences, ladies and gentlemen. Snappable junk fences. That's the name of the mod, and it pretty much could drop the mic and walk off stage right there. Snappable junk fences. Oh my god, how useful is that? But believe it or not, there's more to it than that. So it doesn't just allow you to sort of build the normal junk fences really quickly and just, you know, snap them together no matter which pieces you're using. All the pieces come together. What happens if you come to a bit that you want to curve? You remember those big fat pieces with the tyres? They curve. They actually curve. So you can sort of angle the thing. Maybe that was a bit too much. Yes, I think that was a bit too much. Let's do another straight one there. And then another curved one. There. I can actually get these fences not just joined up and gap free. I can really curve them.
Don't take offense to Marcy.
I'll try not.
She's working through the loss in her own way.
She's going to have to get over the loss of the road in a minute, because I am building a huge big bloody wall and enjoying it. I mean, it's that easy. They snap together that easily. So what happens if you want to actually build it on uneven ground? Don't worry. It even snaps to midpoints. It's not always going to work by the looks of things, although it looks like I could probably get this one fairly close anyway. There are some limits to it. But it gives you... Actually, that's still pretty damned good, isn't it? That is still pretty damned good. But there's actually more to it. Let me just build a few more straight pieces here. Let's pick some different ones just for the variety. That one. Believe it or not, you can also snap floor pieces to these. Let's have a look. Wood, floors. Let's pick the small pieces. You can actually have wooden floor pieces snap to it. Now, it can get a little awkward once you've got one up. You'd have to move around a bit. Like that. But it does work. Again, like I said, it can take a tiny bit of time because the snapping is not as reliable, oh there you go, as you used to, but it is doable. And the snap points actually work with other platforms as well. So if you want this type of platform there, instead it'll go plush up against the wall. But more than that, you can actually place these at different heights. Believe it or not, you are not just limited to, oh god, that height. You can also put them at that height too. These make perfect battlements. Of course I can now hide behind them, pop over and shoot. But this platform is perfect for placing a turret on, so that it can see clearly over. There you go. And you might think to yourself, okay, but they don't look particularly, you know, structurally sound when you look at them. And that would be fair enough, I suppose. But wait till you see this. You can snap the junk walls to the other side. Now it is, again, it can be a little tricky to get them perfectly placed wherever you want them. And with a little bit of fiddling around, I've got that one placed. But there you have it. A battlement, ladies and gentlemen. A battlement with basically walls on either side. And it looks really neat from this side. This would be the inside of the wall. So not only does the wall look a hell of a lot more secure than the single ones, I mean that really does look sturdy, it also looks, well, a little neater. Oh, and if you're wondering whether or not this applies to walls you've already placed, the answer is yes. It changes everything, even the things you have already placed, allowing you to go back and fix some of the horrific walls that you may have made in the past and make them an awful lot neater. Really, this mod is a no-brainer. I think there is no downside to it. Yes, some of the pieces are a little fiddly to snap together, but it still takes a lot less time to build a wall like this than it did for me to build this wall, trying to get all these pieces as close to each other as humanly possible. So it actually will take you less time to build the walls, and you will have more options to create, well, pretty damned good looking and secure looking fortifications. The next mod is more of a work in progress. In fact, the mod author himself describes it as a proof of concept, and that is very, very true. The mod is called Crazy Earl's Weapon Mods, and the mod seems to be trying to expand the way you modify your weapons and to give you more options. I mean, straight away I can show you there are far more receivers for the 10mm pistol, the hunting rifle, and I believe it's the bolt action pipe pistol. And whilst it's always nice to have a lot more options under each mod section, the thing that really stands out is the 50 caliber upgrade is missing. And that is because you now find it in its own slot, the caliber slot. As you can see, this hunting rifle is the standard caliber. I can change that to either a 38 caliber or 50 caliber. Again, with the advanced receiver. In fact, I can actually go all the way up to a robust receiver and get a whopping great 158 damage. Now obviously that is much more powerful. I'm basically stacking 2 upgrades, and so this mod will probably require some balancing. It might require a reduction in all the damage boosts for each of these receivers and the 50 cal itself. But as a concept, I think that's really interesting. It's going to allow you to do things, for example on the 10mm auto pistol, change the caliber to a 45 caliber weapon and still keep the automatic receiver. I'm sure you can imagine some of the options if this gets upgraded to include things like the combat rifle, change the caliber of the combat rifle and keep an automatic receiver. You're going to have a lot more options. As I said, this is very much a work in progress, a proof of concept. It will need balancing and it will need expanding to include a lot more weapons before people will really use it. But I'm hoping this mod author gets some motivation and continues to work on this, because I really like this as an idea. Inventory management is a big part of Fallout 4, or at least it is for me. And so I've been looking for a mod that would help me sort my inventory out and allow me to find things a little easier. There are many such mods, but the one I ended up deciding to go with is one called Valdacil's Item Sorting. Obviously, the mod sorts items for you so you can find things easier. That's pretty much what you would expect, and any items that you pick up will be renamed accordingly. If it's an item you already have, it will only be renamed once you've worked on it at a workbench, and there are some exceptions that will ignore this process. For example, Righteous Authority. It will just keep its name no matter what. But most things get nicely renamed so that you can find them a lot easier. But what really stood out about this mod were the options. It has options for a lot of different things. So for example, you can make chems weightless, you can make junk weightless. You can also do something, and this was what got me, you can specify that things like pre-war money and gold bars are not junk. Items that are valuable are not classified as junk if you select this option, and I did. So now when I put all of my junk into my workstation, if I go over there now and do that, it will not put in these valuable items, and therefore I will, there you go, done it. Miscellaneous. As you can see, I still have my pre-war money and my gold bars. I will not end up using those to make items. I will not be using pre-war money as cloth. And of course this means I can go and spend this. I can use this for trade at the shop. And for me, that single option is one of the biggest reasons to use this mod. I really do love that. So this is a great mod if you want to just find something very quickly from one of your containers, but it's also a great mod if you want to avoid accidentally using those valuable items to make some fairly valueless piece of furniture. Okay, hands up all the people who've often thought to themselves, you know what I'm missing in my life? I'm missing a friend who happens to be a monkey in a spacesuit. Yeah, so that's a thing now. No, seriously, this is actually a thing. This is a follower called Jangles the Moon Monkey. You can't say much to him. You can.
Yeah.
That's it. But he will follow you round. You can't give him commands. You can't tell him to do things. He just kind of follows you around and looks at you in a kind of creepy manner. He will actually fight by punching things. But you can't give him weapons, so you're not gonna. Do it again! Oh no, do the leg sweep! Oh dear. Craziest mod ever. And that is all we have time for this week. I am going to end with some screenshots that you guys have been posting on the link I left last week. And I want to say a big thank you to everybody who has posted. There have been a lot of submissions and some really great images. So a big thanks for that. If you want to post something for me to include in my videos, I will leave a link down below to a video that shows you exactly how you can do that, and big thank you in advance for doing so. I will of course be back next week with more great mods to share with you, and I would love it if you could join me for that. And until then, remember, as always, have fun. If you're curious as to whether I've covered a mod in one of my videos, feel free to go along to my website gophersvids.com and check the search functionality out. Just type the name of the mod you're interested in, open up the settings and filter by mods only. Click for search and you will see whether or not I've covered that mod. Click on the mod and it will also show you any of the videos this mod appears in.